So rockets got new support in the Lord of Boro box, and also from the level up rewards and drop rewards of Varus. And rockets is an archetype of Dark Dragon monsters that have effects when they are targeted by Link monsters, and they will pop themselves and trigger their own effects. And then during the end phase, when they are popped, they can summon another rocket from your deck, and they can be popped by a battle or card effect. So even if you don't have a Link monster that triggers their effects, you can just set them or just summon them as normal and wait for your opponent to destroy them and summon more from your deck. So we'll start from Magna Rocket Dragon. This card, when it is targeted by a Link monster, it sends itself, it pops itself and sends a monster on the field to the graveyard. This is very good because it is non-destruction. Silver Rocket Dragon can banish a card from your opponent's extra deck. Metal Rocket can destroy all cards in its own column. And Shell Rocket Dragon can pop a monster in its own column and monsters in that adjacent column. So, for example, if you pop the zone in the left, you also get to pop the monsters in the middle zone because it is next to the zone next to the column that it is in. Okay. The only rocket that we have that doesn't have the rocket effect is Rocket Tracer, because instead of having the typical rocket effect, it has a quick effect to pop a face-up card that you control to special summon a rocket from your deck. So this also locks you into dark monsters from your extra deck. So keep that in mind. That's why we're only playing dark monsters in our extra deck. And this is our main way to have multiple rockets on our field. And the card that you'll be popping the most is probably your field spell, which you can search from your skill. Yeah, Rapid Trigger is our fusion spell. It can fusion summon any monster, but it fusion summons by popping monsters on the field. And it's also a quick play spell, so what you can do is just have some rocket monsters on your field, set this card, and when it is in your opponent's turn, you can just flip it open and pop your monsters. And since it pops for the fusion summon, it also triggers their graveyard effects during the end phase to summon more rocket monsters from your deck. And Quick Launch is a search spell that special summons a rocket from your deck, and most of the time you'll be special summoning Rocket Tracer because that is the rocket that helps you get even more rockets from your deck. And Boot Sector Launch is our field spell, searchable from our skill. It helps us special summon rocket monsters from our hand. And if you're going second, you can also special summon rockets from your graveyard up to the difference of the amount of monsters you and your opponent has. And the rest are staple traps. If you have better options, if you have more expensive staples like a Book of Moon, MST, you should go for them. But for this free-to-play deck, we will be playing Fuse Line, which is from the same mini box. It pops a card in its own column. It is okay, it's not very good, but it is so generic staple trap, so we will still be using it. And Burst Breath, it is a trap for dragon decks. It tributes a dragon monster to destroy all face-up monsters on the field who has a defense less than or equal to the attack of the tributed monster. So even if it doesn't work against Link monsters, you can still tribute any of your monsters to pop your opponent's materials if they're trying to go for a extra deck summon. Okay, for the extra deck, we are playing one Brawler Furious Dragon. That is our fusion monster for a deck. It has a quick effect to pop your opponent's cards by also popping one monster you control. So this is really good to trigger your rocket monsters effects, because even if you pop your own rockets, you can still summon another one for your deck during the end phase. And it also has another effect to revive a Dark Link monster by banishing itself from the graveyard. And even if it negates its effects, you can still use that Link monster to Link summon another Link monster which has a higher Link rating. You can also play Inverted Doom Dragon, which is our Dark level 8 Synchro monster. Okay, wait. If you have better Dark Dragon Synchro monsters that are level 8, you should play them. But Inverted Doom Dragon is the one that is free to obtain. If you have Hot Red Dragon Archfiend, you should play this card. Or if you have Dark End Dragon, you should also play that card. But Doom Dragon is free to obtain. So if you don't have the other cards, you could just play this card. And Borlo Dragon, that is our boss monster. It is a Link 4, and it requires free effect monsters, so you can't use a Link 3 and another monster. You must use at least 3 monsters, so that is pretty rough. It is pretty hard to summon, but it is really good at triggering your own Rocket Monster's effects, because it has a quick effect to target a monster on the field to reduce its attack and defense by 500. So you can use this effect on your opponent's monsters, but if you use it on your own monsters, you can trigger the effect of rockets when they are targeted by a Link monster's effects, and use their own effects. And it also cannot be responded, which is pretty nice. That ensures that if you target your own rockets, their trigger effects will always be able to activate without your opponent being able to chain block it. And it also has another effect. If it battles an opponent's monster, you can steal that monster and place it on a zone that it points to. So if you're going to summon Borlo Dragon, make sure to not have any monsters in the zone that it points to. So most of the time it will be the middle zone, because it has 2 corner arrows. So leave the middle zone empty. So if you attack an opponent's monster with this card, you will be able to steal it and place it onto the middle zone. And it also doesn't give it back to your opponent after the end of the turn. It just sends it to the graveyard during the next turn. So it's just gone. You don't have to worry about your opponent having back the monster that you took. So that is pretty nice. Pretty powerful for a Link 4. Our other Link 4 is the new Topologic Bomber Dragon. So another Dark Link monster, but it is Cybers. It is not Dark. It is not a dragon. But it has a pretty powerful effect to destroy all monsters on the main monster zones if a monster is special summoned to a zone that a Link monster points to. This is mandatory, and it will trigger every time a monster is special summoned to a zone. It is not once per turn. So it is really good if you can use something like Quick Launch to summon a rocket into Bomber Dragon's zones, and then pop your opponent's monsters, including your own rockets, and then during the end phase you can use the effect of the rocket that you popped to summon another rocket from your deck. It also has an effect to deal a bit of burn damage if it attacked an opponent's monster. Okay, Quad Borrow Dragon, we are playing 2 of it because we can only get 2 copies from the level up rewards, and this card allows us to discard a card to pop a face-up monster on the field, and if it is a Link monster, you can revive the same amount of rocket monsters from your graveyard or hand up to the Link rating of that card. So you could use it to pop your opponent's monsters, you could use it to pop your own rocket monsters, or a lot of times you will actually want to pop itself because it is a Link monster. So if you pop itself, you will be able to revive back 2 rocket monsters. So why is this good? Because of the next card we're talking about, Delindrous Dragon. So its good effect is that when it is in the graveyard, you can special summon itself when you special summon a rocket monster. So what you can do is if you have 3 rocket monsters in the field, you can first make a Delindrus with 2, and then use Delindrus and third rocket to make Quad Borrow. Quad Borrow pop itself, summon back 2 rockets from the graveyard, and since you special summoned a rocket while Delindrus is in your graveyard, you can revive the Delindrus. So now you have 2 rockets and 1 Delindrus, which is enough material to make Borreload Dragon. And finally we have Booster Dragon. It is a Link 2, and its main usage is to target your own rockets to trigger their effects, because Borreload is a Link 4, it's pretty hard to summon. But if you want to trigger your rocket effects without having to go into Borreload, then Booster Dragon is probably your best choice. So for the skill, it is Borrow Launch. It is really easy to get, you don't have to grind for it, it's just freely obtainable from level 20. And at the start of your third turn, you can send a Delindrus to your graveyard, but it is the start of your third turn, not the third turn. So I am still playing a copy of Delindrus, just because if I want to have a Delindrus in my graveyard turn 1, I can still do that by just normal Link summoning. And the best effect of the skill is to return a card from your hand to the deck to activate a Boot Sector launch from your deck. That was why we're only playing a single copy of this field spell. It can only be used when you already have a rocket monster in the field, so you will have to either spend your normal summon, or you have to activate Quick Launch. And also it has a restriction that can only be used, the skill can only be used if your deck has at least 9 rocket monsters, which we have 10, and if your extra deck contains Borreload Dragon, so keep that in mind. And some other cards that you can use in this deck if you have them are, of course, better Staple Traps, and also specifically some good rank 4 Xyz monsters, because if you haven't noticed, all rockets are dark level 4 dragons, so you can make Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon, which is dark, and also a dragon. Remember, if you are going to choose Xyz monsters to use, you should always pick dark Xyz monsters, because Rocket Tracer and the skill locks you into dark monsters, and I believe the skill locks you into dark monsters as well. So yeah, you could play Dark Rebellion. You could also play Malevolent Sin, and more importantly, you could play Evil Swarm Nightmare, which is a really good rank 4 if you're going first. It is 2 disruptions. You can flip 2 monsters face down when they are special summoned. So really good for disruption. It's actually not once per turn, so you can flip 2 monsters. So yeah, that is basically it. And of course, if you have more copies of Tracer and Quick Launch, you should play 3 copies, and maybe remove some of the other rockets. But yeah, that is basically a deck. So again, this deck is posted on dlf2p.com, link is in the description, you can go check it out. But why is he setting over there? What is this placement? What is that placement? I do not understand. If I'm playing Mech Knights, he loses immediately. Let's get rid of the Burst Breath. Okay, we'll actually use the Tracer right now. so that we get a pop. The pop is going to be pretty useful. And then no wait, we can actually make Booster Dragon. Yes, let's use Booster Dragon. Booster Dragon. Linked it to away. Okay, look at this, it's going to be really cool. Let's target our thing and then use its effect, and it wipes every single card in its column. Boom! Ooh, we got a Mirror Force! But we also popped a White Stone, which is not really ideal. And if he really likes to put cards in that zone, we'll just put Fuse Line on that zone specifically. Okay, now we'll use Graveyard effects. We'll get a Tracer. And I think we get Silver Rocket. All in defense because we can't beat over his Blue Eyes. What is he going to beat over? Wait, Booster Dragon has an effect. If this, you can special summon a... Yeah, let's do it. Special summon the Magna Rocket. He's gonna negate that spine. That is what we need. Because now we can use a Tracer to pop the Silver Rocket, and the Silver Rocket's effect will be able to activate. Okay, problem. Does he have 2 Spirit Dragons? He doesn't. That is interesting. Oh, why is he gonna make Azure Eyes right now? Why? Why though? Anyway, I think we win. Just pop the Boot Sector. Does Magna Rocket target? This is very important. I need to know. I think it doesn't because it doesn't say target. I'm going to assume that it doesn't target. I'm pretty sure modern card design won't. Yeah, it doesn't. I think so. Okay, now let's yeah, it doesn't target. Nice. We'll send the Azure Eyes. Battle! Yes, we'll steal the Blue Eyes! And blue eyes for lethal. There we go! Finally, our first win with 4 Alone Dragon. Yes! Yeah, if Upen gets Goki, we should probably place this in defense. Yeah, I thought he wanted to go to the Link 4, but apparently not. He's just going to make the Link 3 anyway. So let's pop the Link 3 before he gets his extra normal summon. Yeah, he should have gone for the Link 4. That way I couldn't pop his Link. Well, that's probably expected for a plat player. He can go to another Jet Ogre, but he probably can't extend it past this point. Yeah, he already special summoned his Headband, he used his rematch, he doesn't have another normal summon, he's just going for the finish move on the Link 2. Okay, that's what, 2500 attack? Yeah, 2500 attack. Still not enough. It's still 1000 off. Get the Tracer. We did, we just haven't waited enough. Get the thing, okay. But yeah, we can win this. Let's pop the back row first. You know what? That's fine because after it popped the crackdown, it just gives it back to me, so it doesn't really matter. It just gives it back to me. And then now we could yeah, now we can basically do whatever we want. We can pop the Link 2 to summon 2 from our graveyard. And there we go, and then we make a Borolo Dragon. There we go. Borolo Dragon animation. Yeah, Borolo. Oh, what Graveyard effect do we have? Oh, we have the thing. We'll just leave it there. We'll just attack. Yeah, we even have an extra rocket monster to deal lethal. And even if he has Octo Stretch in his hand, we can just use the Magna Rocket as disruption.